Hello, everyone. Today is March 27th, 2023. I'm sorry, 2024. I have no guest today on Kourosh podcast. Instead, today's podcast is brought to you by Zayuk. Zayuk is a property management company that I founded, and we specifically handle HOA, homeowner association, community association management. Um, we are in the business of decentralized property management, specifically when it comes to community associations. And so, in today's podcast, we're going to be speaking about something that relates to communities, community associations, and that is balconies, and specifically community associations in California. So, we'll go back to 2015. In 2015, a group of Irish students went onto a balcony late at night, 13 Irish students. Um, and I'm not sure if I said this, Berkeley, California. And very tragically, the balcony collapsed. If you Google pictures of the incident, you can see it 180'd onto the balcony below it. I don't know if it 180'd, but it flipped, and it's pretty incredible and pretty tragic and horrific uh, sight. And so 13 people were launched off of five stories, and six of them died. Seven of them did not. Actually, one unfortunately passed away recently. This is being recorded in 2024 due to our injuries. So that highlighted a dire infrastructure need, that the balconies in our state in California might not be sufficient. And the state took it upon itself to pass Senate Bill 326, known as the balcony law. And this law affects homeowner associations. There's another law related to balconies, 721. That law affects apartments, duplexes, triplexes. But 326, California SB 326 is related to homeowner associations, community associations. And what am I trying to say? The rate at which the inspections need to be recurring is different as well between 721 and 326. 721, every 6 years, the apartments and duplexes, quadplexes, triplexes are held to inspections. And we'll speak about what type of inspection that is. Well, not for 721. And for 326, it's every 9 years. So that's a critical distinction, is the rate at which the inspections need to occur for these balconies. So moving away from 721 and beginning to highlight SB 326, regular inspections of balconies, walkways, and decks. These are, those are the most common assets of the community that may have the issues that this bill is attempting to highlight for the community, for the broader city as well, and also, where they see the highest potential problems. So we'll talk about triple E's. Triple E is an acronym: exterior elevated elements. So it's kind of, just what it sounds like. Exterior elevated element, that can be stairways, balconies, decks, as we mentioned, also outdoor walkways, ramps, and landings. So anything that's 6 or more feet above the ground and mostly made of wood must be inspected for, water damage, and seeing if there's some sort of issue that might cause structural integrity to fail, and if so, handling that appropriately. So going back to the inspection, going back to the collapse of the tragedy, the tragic collapse, 2015, Berkeley, 13 Irish students, 6 dead. Then Senate Bill 326 was passed in August 2019. From August, we find ourselves here today, end of March of 2024, and that bill made, set the requirement date for the first inspection to occur for all community associations, all HOA resident balconies, January 1st, 2025. That's in 9 months. So, we had an epidemic in this time, and things got away possibly. Associations might not be up to code, might not have gotten their inspections, and they should, if they have balconies, whether they're self-managed, whether they're managed. I mean, hopefully their managers are already on this and they have their inspections and are getting their repairs done if necessary and handling all this. But if not, we have 9 months. So you'd want to make sure that you're in compliance with SB 326 and get your association's balconies inspected before the end of this year. Not the repairs done, just the inspections. And so when you get it inspected, make sure you have a licensed inspector, a company, contractor that actually is licensed and able and in compliance with SB 326. So you can't just have anyone. It has to be structural engineer, architect, licensed contractor, certified building inspector. And very likely if you search Google, you'll be able to find one in your area. It shouldn't be too difficult. And hopefully you're getting multiple quotes for that and able to make the best decision for your association, both to be in compliance with SB 326, but also to make sure that you're not spending exorbitant amount of money for something that you need, but you don't want to break the bank for it. So we mentioned EEEs, triple E's, exterior elevated elements, 6 feet or more above the ground, need to be inspected if they're mostly made of wood. Waterproofing of these EEEs and the requirements. So we spoke about what type of inspection. For the entire association, a statistically significant sample of visual inspections of the triple E's is what's required. So once they handle that statistically significant inspection of visual inspection, then that can determine if they see the structure's integrity is intact, won't need to continue it under the requirements. And if so, then deeper inspections will need to occur. And we can speak about that. I'm not an expert in these inspections. I've done research to bring to you because IUC is a homeowner association management company. We care about what's going on with the buildings we're managing. And so, we're doing this for your community, for the well-being of all of our assets. And so if further testing is needed, the inspector will determine that, and any immediate dangers must be reported to the HOA and to the city's building department. So this is where I was mentioning the city gets involved. This is an integrity issue, it's huge when the infrastructure of a city breaks. It's a massive thing. It devastates a community. Neighbors I can only imagine. I've never had it. I've never had it. So I can only imagine, for collapse in Florida, imagine you're a building just a few blocks from there on the beach. I mean, you're scared. That's a huge thing. And then that goes for the entire city and then even the neighboring cities. So they're all kind of in the same kind of humid uh environment right next to the beach. You got sand, you got salt, you got water, wind, high wind, hurricanes, and then you combine that with the fact that Florida hasn't had reserve requirements laws until Senate Bill 4, I believe Florida SB 4D. That's a big deal. It comes back. It's tough for a city to handle that, and for residents and for maybe the general public, that kind of gets lost in the background. But I mean, it's in within government, within local government, even it's something that resonates, and you know people don't want their buildings to collapse. And if it seems like they're about to, they want to make sure that they're not in it, and that yeah, they want to make sure they're not in it. I mean, it's a real big deal. Okay. So once the inspection is done, the initial inspection, um, with or without extensive testing, the association should receive a report of findings and recommendations and budget. Put that in the reserves, plan it over years, depending on the requirements. So going back to the requirements and reserves, um, this is a 9-year balcony inspection. So these inspections should occur in concurrence with the reserves. Every third reserve study, your balconies should have an inspection. And so the inspection report must be kept again for those next 2 years. And, hopefully we can, Zayuk, we have our safe. I personally love our safe, and we don't have common assets in there yet, but we will, that's a huge thing for us, and getting these reserves and the integrity of these reserves represented in the app is a big deal. So, but just to go back to that, kept, so your reserve study needs to be kept for 2 cycles, at least 9 years, every third reserve study, which in California, and again, this is all California based. If you're outside of California, there are different rules. So you'll want to be in compliance and make sure you're aware of those. Then every third reserve study, balcony inspection required. That's probably the big thing to get. So the report, list of building parts inspected, physical condition of inspected elements, statement of whether there's danger, current present danger, how long the inspected parts are expected to last. And so this goes right in turn with the reserve study. If you know that your balconies have a shelf life of 15 years, you file that in right in your reserve study, able to budget that, able to align that with the dues and how you want the dues to increase with inflation over the next 15 years. So it seems like a great way to just make sure that there's high integrity in your balconies. And then a list of repairs. So to go to the end of the report, so we had a list of building parts inspected, the physical condition of the inspected parts, whether there's current present danger, how long the parts are inspected parts are expected to last, and a list of repairs need to be made emergency, non-emergency. And so, you know, associations will want to be in compliance with this, both for their own safety, but also because insurance. I mean, if you could be held liable if you don't get these SB 326 inspections done in California. Homeowners could lose insurance coverage for personal injury claims, and this is just something that one, you want to keep the integrity of your association high. Um, so it's just a smart thing to do. And two, you do not want to be held we do not want to be held liable for damages. When you can avoid that, that could be a huge issue in homeowner pockets. And so make sure to be in compliance with SB California Senate Bill 326, the balcony inspection bill. Make sure to have a licensed architect or engineer confirm all the inspections, visually at least. And a visual inspection, exposed surfaces of load-bearing elements, guardrails, attachment points, buildings. Okay, so if there is a wood frame covered by stucco, the visual inspection will not be enough. And instead, a deeper inspection will be needed. One of these other three, and I don't know which one, but the endoscopic inspection, less invasive, destructive inspection, drilling small holes, borescope, endoscopic camera, quote unquote, concealed wood inside. So you pretty much drill a hole and put a camera in the hole, mini camera. And that's endoscopic inspection. Moisture sensors. Moisture intrusion lead to dry rot. So that one's pretty simple. Keep moisture sensors, making sure there's nothing leaking through the stucco. And infrared imagery. This is, goes beyond the visual spectrum, as it says here, of the human eye. And so you'll know you have to get a capable inspector, architect, licensed engineer, and make sure that the integrity of your building is intact. Make sure you're in compliance with SB 326. Make sure that your insurance claims don't skyrocket. Make sure the association isn't held liable for an accident that could happen. That could be a huge deal. And it's just really easy to avoid. Not necessarily easy, if it turns out that your community has extensive damage, we'll have to deal with that. But at the end of the day, it needs to be done. And if your community does have extensive damage, it's better to know and to handle it as soon as possible than to let the worst possible outcome pass. So thank you, everyone. Again, January 1st, 2025, make sure to have your inspections of your balconies done, all communities, all associations in California. And yeah, thank you for your time. Have a great day.